Picking up where we left off, we have Grimlock and Yuri back at their secret base. Both of them are a little bit, shaken up and roughed up. Yuri was actually worried about him when he fought Craven, and she begins to explain how she failed to get Cletus Cassidy. However, she notices that Grimlock is holding one of Craven's computers and wondering what it is. To which Grimlock first addresses the situation where he's not upset that they, messed up with Cassidy. Had it not been for his cousin, he would have probably gotten him. Now, back to Craven, right? He actually opens the computer and realizes that Craven has schematics on him, down to his very DNA. His firepower, his abilities, his weight, size, and, well, his intelligence level. And even his evolutionary function, to which Goliath didn't even know about this. Grimlock didn't even know about this, and he looks at it, and it even records everything from the very first fire punch he ever threw. And remember, he threw that just a couple hours ago by this chapter, in all honesty, or by the time period, sorry. And he wonders just how powerful he could become. Is he more powerful than what he's trying to find? Or is he potentially weaker? And Yuri just, I guess you could say, somewhat glosses over this because, again, she is used to him by this point here. And she does give him a kiss and tells him that she'll be in the shower if he wants to join her. To which Grim doesn't, hesitate to get up and is about to leave here. However, before he leaves, he actually takes a look at his workspace and sees a picture of the King Titan, or at least the fossilized depiction of it by early cavemen, and wonders just how powerful is or was it. This is when we fast forward to Craven's base here, his main base of operations, where he basically operates in the game here. And he's actually just sitting in a chair watching his henchmen or his fellow hunters do whatever. Some of them are orchestrating things, some of them are cleaning up, some of them are preparing gear, preparing, to feed Craven's, I think, tiger, if I remember it was here. And some of them are actually reworking Lizard's armor. Craven is somewhat disappointed, but does see the benefit of Lizard, and actually tells them to go out and use him to catch Tombstone. But Craven can't help to feel this anger, this excitement, this passion to hunt Goliath, to find a worthy death or find a worthy trophy. He wants this end to be his own here. No matter how many hunts he's been on, no matter how many people or animal-like creatures he's killed, he wants Goliath. However, his thoughts are interrupted when Rhino bursts through his doors here. Now, keep in mind, Craven was capturing villains in the original, but we don't know if he really captured Rhino. So in this one, we're incorporating Rhino as one of the earliest captures in the story. However, Craven doesn't want to kill him, he wants to use him. Rhino, not having it, actually is able to take down some of the few fodder hunters before he gets taken, I guess you could say, somewhat checked by some of the big bruiser ones. However, Craven tells them to simply stand aside and that he'll handle the situation. Rhino charges at Craven. However, Craven simply sidesteps him and jumps on top of him, using the literal biology of a rhino, which is, I guess you could say, would be somewhat accurate here. I mean, Rhino's wearing a suit, but he should function like an actual rhino. Well, not an actual rhino, but have similar properties to it, which again is poor eyesight. To which Craven not only lures him, but traps him in an adamantium hook net. Basically, these hooks dig into their prey and just extend their body parts all over. To which Rhino says that's enough. He's actually begging Craven to stop. And to which Craven says that he'll make a great bodyguard for him. He'll make a great, I guess you could say, war creature. And, well, or I guess you could honestly just say the same as Lizard. Just another mindless, animalistic servant. And this is where one of Craven's henchmen tells him that the serum is ready. And he says, good, what about the other targets? Both Victor Alvarez and Eva Ayala, the White Tiger and the Power Man, both have been spotted at these specific locations. And Craven says, Perfect. I have a score to settle. Now, this is where we also go over to the Carnival part of the story. Now, yes, some of the Agent Venom and Harry stuff, where Harry just, reunites. Excuse me, Harry reunites with MJ and them, that still plays out. However, the Carnival part is a bit different here. Instead of having Genki there, I would actually have Haley. Having Miles ask her out a lot earlier in the story, or probably when they were both in school, would have actually been a lot better than what we got in the original. So while Harry and Pete and MJ, reminiscing, catching up here, Miles' head is simply clouded. And Haley can see this. And as they both pretty much, conversate with each other, Haley begins to see it from both perspectives, but does tell Miles he has to learn to forgive and, on some occasions, accept that their family can be wrong in certain areas. She has to learn it for herself, and she had to learn it for herself a long time ago. However, everything still plays out the same, but again, Miles just has some, food for thought here. And everything in the Carnival actually goes smoothly, smoother than the original. However, this is a Spider-Man. Alright, this is a Spider-Man story. Well, somewhat of Spider-Man story, or this is still Spider-Man-esque. And nothing good lasts forever. I mean, come on now, we should know this by now. Danger just follows everything in New York City. That thing is probably just the most villain-packed area of all time. I don't know how people still live there. But this time, the hunters have Lizard, remember? And this makes it 10 times more dangerous than the original when they have to go and get Tombstone. Everything still kind of plays out the same here, except Miles and Pete are both there here. And Harry does his whole Agent Venom thing when actually saving Peter from from some of the hunters. And actually he's able to take out some of the more big and bruising hunters. However, Lizard is the main problem here. He's tearing apart the Carnival. He's tearing apart the Ferris wheel, throwing around citizens and stuff here. And again, Spider-Man's trying to reach him here, but he notices that Lizard's wearing some kind of armor, and it might be controlling him here. So instead of trying to reason with him, Spider-Man tries to take him down as quick and fast as possible. However, again, all these hunters around here make it difficult. And again, I would probably have to stress, I wouldn't be able to stress this enough, having Miles there and now Harry getting his powers here makes it 10 times better. It makes it far easier for Pete to kind of focus on different things here. Being able to get citizens out, Miles can handle. Being able to handle Lizard, Pete can handle. And getting Tombstone out, Harry can handle. However, again, the hunters are just a big problem altogether. Not to mention, again, they have Lizard here. And this is where I think Miles would definitely tap further into his blue electrical powers, and this would cause him, I wouldn't say to tweak out a little bit, I think he would definitely unleash that more shockwave-esque type of attack, but it would leave him exhausted here. So the night would be far more difficult, but again, they would get everything done. But now this means that the hunters may become a much bigger priority than they were before. However, again, they go home, they rest for the night, and hopefully they can continue this the next day. But now we're at the part you guys have been waiting for. College, right? The university. Everyone loves school, right? Now, we will pick up here, and believe it or not, Ava Ayala, the white tiger here, is just finishing up her class here. It's her last semester here, and she can't wait to graduate and hopefully start a career. Or, again, maybe start her own superhero career. However, as she's leaving, she's actually greeted by Yuri. And this is where we actually get a little bit of fangirling over here. Because, again, a lot of people didn't see what Yuri did when she actually shot Hammerhead in the head. I mean, I would have shot that man too. Shoot, he was actually dead, believe it or not. Shooting Hammer in the head as wrong. And Ava would be fangirling about this because, again, Yuri was one of her inspirations. Yuri's a little taken aback by this, but does ask if, they can talk privately. To which Ava takes her to her dorm room. Now, she doesn't have a roommate at this time, so everything's a bit simpler and smoother for her. However, she begins to kind of geek out a little bit here, but Yuri calms her down and says that she's on the hunter's watch list and begins to explain that Craven is after her. And this angers Ava, to which Yuri is a bit taken aback. You know who Craven is? So you have a history with him. Has he hunted you before? She starts asking these questions while Ava is searching for the amulet. And Yuri, continues to ask these questions until she gets an answer. And Ava, once she actually gets her amulet and stuff here, she begins to explain how Craven hunted and killed her father, butchered him even like an animal, and took his head. However, before that happened, the tiger amulet went to her. Kind of like a whole Green Lantern ring, if you will. I know the tiger amulet doesn't work like that. You have to pass it down. But again, let's say for this one, it kind of does work like that. It goes to the next member of the family just automatically. Plus, it is an amulet of an ancient tiger god. So maybe the tiger god could just send it to her or whatever. Now, as they pretty much talk about this here, the hunters arrive on campus with their dripped out jeeps and hunter wranglers and everything, all right? And this time, it's led by a much more amped up and a lot more, I would probably say a lot more impatient Craven here. And Craven is calling out to White Tiger, not calling her by her actual name, but by calling her by his prey name, the White Tiger, viewing her as more so prey. I mean, I think this is kind of pretty, obvious how Craven views people. And this is where White Tiger shoots up and wastes no time pretty much slamming through the hunters' animatronic birds, their tigers, and their... Did they have another one? They had the tigers, had the birds. Nope. And I guess just the hunters themselves here, wasting absolutely no time while Wraith actually gets the citizens out of there while dealing with the basic hunters. Basically the sword ones and whichever ones that literally want to do any melee combat. You already know what it is here. And she does take out some archers, so it's not hard here. And Ava begins to make her way to Craven, actually thrashing two of Craven's top tier brutes and just absolutely manhandling them. However, when she gets to Craven, it's all business between them. These two fight like they have history. They do, but you guys get my point. They just go straight business here. However, Ava is not really ready for this kind of fight here. And Craven notices that she's been here growing soft. She hasn't tapped into her tiger power. She hasn't done anything. To which Ava uses that monologuing to at least get a decent hit in and tries to restrain Craven. However, again, Craven is a lot stronger than what she remembers from her year, or at least from her father's experience, from what the tiger amulet gave her. And not only does he begin to outmaneuver Ava, but begins to straight up beat her down. Like, it's absolutely... It gets so bad, right, that Wraith has to jump in. And she tries her own thing. She actually does land a lot more hits than Ava. And it's a bit more contentious, but this is because Wraith has a lot more experience, I guess you could say, fighting against metahumans or superhuman-like beings than White Tiger does. And Craven, again, still has a lot more experience than her. It does take him a while, but he does manage to harm Wraith here and actually manage to slice at her, I guess you could say slice at her thigh, her outer thigh, not her inner one here. And this is where Spider-Man and Agent Venom are able to come in and try their best to actually handle the situation here. With most of the citizens gone, Pete does handle most of it while, well, Agent Venom over here just tries his best here. It's still his first time superheroing. This is kind of like the first mission they have together, and so they pretty much handle it. Let's just say Pete and him were nearby. However, this is where we get a timeline change, though. Pete is a lot more aware of what the hunters can do and what they're capable of, meaning he's a bit more prepared for Craven with his more mechanical arms and stuff like that, and he actually uses this opportunity to disarm Craven. Now, he does do better than Wraith and White Tiger, but it's only like I'll probably say a 2 times difference of him being better. However, Craven manages to not only disarm Spider-Man of his mechanical arms, but actually use one to break Peter's arm here, and then just tosses him away like he's nothing more than a fly. It's ridiculous here. And after seeing Venom rage out over it, Craven actually grabs one of his spears and begins to actually go to work on Agent Venom here. It's actually much like the original, except it's a bit more of a fight here. And unfortunately for Agent Venom here, he gets outclassed again because Harry's still inexperienced. He's got, you know, the Venom punches, the Venom rage amp stuff here, but he's inexperienced. And just before Craven can deal a finishing blow here, this is where Goliath comes in and slams himself in front of Craven, knocking him and the rest of the hunters back here. Everyone is slightly relieved here, and Goliath begins to face off against Craven, but he smells that he's different. Far more different than what he originally counted him. And he smells stabilized element in his veins. Goliath is a bit taken aback here. He doesn't step back or anything, but he's a little curious. And everyone can see it here, despite the fact that they all have their injuries here. They can see that Goliath is curious. To which Craven says, yes, I've been taking some enhancements, if you will. You see, when I first reached out to you, you had a lot of things that I wanted. And I had a lot of things you wanted. So I thought we could compromise. To which Goliath is now even more curious than he was before, and he simply just walks towards Craven very slowly. However, Craven simply notes that I have far more information about Rockwell's history than you will ever have. Now, as Craven is monologuing to Goliath, this is where Power Man, Victor Alvarez, actually shows up and gets everyone out of here. Yuri does look back at Goliath, but knows that he can handle himself and hopes that he ends Craven right then and there. I would end this chapter off with Goliath and Craven standing off with each other, and Craven just simply saying he can give him the information if he comes with him. And that's where I'm going to leave it off here, you guys. Please comment down below, like and subscribe and share it to your friends. And I will be explaining how Goliath recruited Victor Alvarez in the next chapter. Basically, both of these chapters would take place at the same time. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. And y'all have a blessed day. Peace.